And so once you hear that, you already know. It's time to bring you caught today. Murtala Inusah has joined me. Murtala, good morning.
Good morning, GHOne, sir.
I hope you're doing well.
By His grace, I'm fine.
Fantastic.
How about
so
you?
I'm doing okay. I'm just sleepy, but I'm okay. You know, I heard the special prosecutor talk about the fact that, well, we need to have a certain form of regime, legal regime, empower him, to be able to do his work well and all of that, to strengthen his office, basically. But he's been on to some work.
That is so. So the special prosecutor has been once a while, then we hear from the OSP and all of that. And yesterday was one of the days that we heard from the OSP. And in respect of the person involved, it's not something that is so much of a news because we've seen over the past few years a case that came up, and then OSP declared Charles Bissue wanted. Court battle here and there, even as we speak. The leg of it is currently at the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is even here to deal with it. Right. Then yesterday, there was that information that came out. In fact, there's a charge sheet that has been filed against the former, the Secretary of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissue. And what the OSP is saying is to the effect that if you look at investigations that have been put together, and as you can see on your screens, excerpts of the charges and accounts that have been filed at the High Court. In fact, 15 of them, 15 counts, and out of the 15 counts, Mr. Charles Bissue has 6 of them, and of course, he is not in this alone. If you look at the charge sheet that has been filed, he together with Andy Thomas Owusu, another somebody who is also close to him, they are alleged to have taken bribe, allegedly, for Charles Bissue. The document mentioned 35,000, and then the other accused person 15,000, just so they will allow somebody who was seeking for that license to be able to mine, Benjamin Ejapon on that case. Initially, we were told that it negotiated for 100,000 Ghana cedis. And in fact, after 100,000 Ghana cedis, they realized that 100,000 Ghana cedis, they realized that if you look at the processes that the whole processes that's involved, it means that they use the office for the corruption corruption by a public officer, of course, one of them, and then using your office for profits, and of course, bribery. So these are the allegations that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has leveled against Charles Bissue. In fact, we've been told that sometime on the 6th of May, that particular case will come up, and then his plea will be taken in relation to what has been filed at the court. So in the news here, yes, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is up again, and this time around, his battle with Charles Bissue is up again because the new charge sheet has come using public office for profit. Is one of the counts that has been preferred. On top of corruption, it's also captured. The corruption by a public officer is also captured in there. And of course, if you look at the whole processes that have been filed, accepting bribe to influence a public officer. So these are the charges or the counts in relation to the Office of the Special Prosecutor's latest on Charles Bissue, especially in relation to Galamsey. So it makes the point that if you look at the committee that was formed in 2017, sometime in 2021, the whole process was truncated, and then investigations upon allegations came out that there were some monies that were taken. So that is Charles Bissue on your screens over there. So that's one of the, and then this is the Attorney General, of course. But this particular case is filed by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So officers from the Office of the Special Prosecutor are the one to prosecute this. In fact, there are a couple of them. ABLJ, the former PPA boss, is also in court, and some other cases up north and all of that. So we keep an eye on this very one, and then we'll let you know when the OSP is in court to have the plea of Charles Bissue, and of course, Andy Owusu taken. We'll be there to follow up and then see what will happen in relation to that.
Interesting there, Tala. Charles Bissue, looks like his woes never end. Somehow, it looks like it keeps getting worse.
So you note that at some point in time, the OSP declared him wanted.
Yeah.
It became a human rights issue. At a point in time, the decision taken by the Human Rights Court, Mr. Bissue and the lawyers are not satisfied with it. So they're currently at the Supreme Court. And then at the last court day, I noticed that both the prosecution and the lawyer for Charles Bissue were not available in court. So that case was adjourned Sunday.
Interesting. Now let's talk about the man who says that he had nothing to do with Atai. He was only a mechanic for Atai, and so he feels that he's been unfairly prosecuted and jailed.
Okay, so that's the man on your screen in white. Yes. So the point is that he, together with the popular Atai or notorious Atai, who is currently at Ankafo in prisons, were charged together for robbery. And you know that the kind of robbery that Atai was involved in is one that is high, very, very high robbery, of course. So they were arrested together with some others, and then eventually they were convicted and jailed 35 years in 2002.
Right.
He was not represented by a lawyer at the time. So his current lawyer, Judge Bernard Shaw, upon getting the information, looked at the whole process and realized that no, he thinks that the fact adduced in court did not support the offense or the facts, and so he's lodged an appeal at the Court of Appeal, which yesterday was a day that a three-member panel of the Court of Appeal, presided over by Justice Janapari Kujo, was expected to deliver their judgment. But that case, which also includes Justice Stephen Opon and Justice Abuaje Tando, has been adjourned to June 5. But he's saying that we told that he is the mechanic, he's the one that if at all you go on operations and come up with the cars, he is the one that repairs the car.
What those cars
Absolutely. Later they didn't know that it was Atai that he was dealing with. So that is the case before the Court of Appeal. And on June 5.
He's been in prison for 23 years.
Yeah, he's been in prison for because they were jailed 25 years in 2002.
Right.
Then he's been in lawful custody till now. So the appeal process started for about almost, I think, 6 years now.
Okay.
Well, it's been a while now. It's been an hour. So he's
So
so
on June
23
5,
has been spent already. So there's about 12 more years to go because it's 35 years.
And so if last you get to understand that okay, he was jailed wrongfully, he has already spent the 23 years.
Almost, he has done. He has done that.
So let's talk about the Ghana High Commission property. Now, yesterday I remember you mentioned that the man who had sold some property in Nigeria, among others. What exactly happened in court on that?
Yeah, so yesterday, the High Court in Accra, presided over by Justice Mary Mamiye Yenzu, made a determination on a bail application moved by his lawyers. In fact, if you look at the case before the court, Benjamin Mensah Bonso, you note that the Minister for Foreign Affairs gave us information about how a diplomatic property belonging to Ghana in Nigeria was handled, where some $1.5 million was received by this gentleman for the sale of that particular property. And so following the death of some of the persons involved, they decided when the investigation uncovered that he was the one that received the money. So he was arrested and currently he's in lawful custody. On the 17th of April, they made an appearance in court where prosecution urged the court that they would need more time to be able to investigate further. So his plea on stealing, money laundering, and some others were not taken.
Right.
And so yesterday, his lawyers, led by Andrew Kujovotia, filed, in fact, moved a bail application before the court. Prosecution opposed to that. By the end, the court is of the view that the accused person be granted bail in the sum of 2 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties, but the sureties should be public servant earning not less than 6,000 Ghana cedis. That's the gross salary. It should not be less than 6,000 Ghana cedis. The passport should also be deposited with the registry. He should also report to the case investigator once every fortnight or once every 2 weeks until final determination of the case. So that is in relation to that. So yesterday, as you can see him with some of the officers having a conversation in handcuff, they're leaving the court. The point is that he was likely to have his bail granted, and once he's able to satisfy the conditions, he's one. So sometime in June, May, next month, he'll be back in court again.
Fantastic. So what are we looking forward to?
Today, I'll be taking you to the the camp of Asamoah Gyan. Yesterday
You.
I mentioned that, yes, the Black Stars all-time goal scorer. So there's this case where a journalist and some other, in relation to malicious prosecution, that case, High Court delivered a judgment and awarded him damages against Asamoah Gyan in the sum of over 1 million cedis.
Right.
He disagreed with that particular decision. So currently today, he's in the Supreme Court. He want the court to stay proceedings so that he will appeal at the Court of Appeal. The court said, now before you go and appeal, pay 50% of the money. It will be put in the treasury bill. It will be growing for you. At the end of the legal battle, if you win, you pick your money. If you don't win, you add the additional one and give it to them. But he said that I'm going to the Supreme Court. So this and some other things that we expect to happen today.
Fantastic.
By way of court today.
Murtala Inusah.
Joshua
Yeah,
today the Gunners, we are in action. But I won't talk much.
You know what?
Jones will come and tell you
Jones
more.
will exactly.
He
Jones
was
will give you the
doing some
details.
shakara things behind the scenes, but I will not talk. Yeah, it's not
What
fun.
man
We will
do,
not
man?
talk. What man?
Murtala Inusah, thank you so much for bringing us court today.